what you should be relying on is actually action, because action will lead you towards motivation.
Feeling off track with your New Year's resolutions of working out and hitting the gym and beating yourself up for not staying with the program? Paul Hanton is a certified strength and conditioning coach and owner of Hydra Fitness. Paul lets us in on how you can get back on track with 3 things you can do today that are simple, easy, and manageable. Wouldn't we all like to create change in our lives? These compelling and extraordinary conversations can help you make better life choices. I'm Terry Yoffe, executive career and business coach and founder of Try Coaching. Welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on your show. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. So, how'd you get to where you are today, Paul?
Yeah, and that's a great question, and I'll keep it pretty short. But I got into sports at a pretty young age, and always enjoyed playing sports. Then I joined the military, so I joined the Marines, and in the Marines, that's when I started to really get into strength training and weightlifting, and I instantly fell in love with it. At some point in the Marines, I decided that I wanted to take things to the next level, and that's when I hired my own personal trainer, who I was with for many, many years, and that really changed my life better. What I wanted to do, because I felt so strongly about passion in my life around strength training, and this, I wanted to help people have that same passion that I felt as well. And so that's what led me to becoming a personal trainer. I kind of wanted to pay it forward, but I also wanted to help people discover how much fitness can change their life like it changed mine. And so I started personal training, the goal of just changing people's lives for the better and improving people's health any way I can.
It's such a loaded area. It's like my most recent podcast was on nutrition. Nutrition, exercise, we all seem to go down that rabbit hole. Exercise, I do it. I haven't recently, but I have a trainer. I hate it, but I do it. When people want to do it, when they come to you, what do you find is the biggest challenge?
Yeah, so I think something that there's kind of a couple key areas that are challenges for a lot of people. One of those is that I found people coming to me extremely motivated to make some sort of change. And it's very hard for everybody, whoever you are, to stay motivated for a long period of time. I'm sure you've experienced this. I've experienced this. I'm sure your listeners have experienced this. But it's very hard for people, for everybody, including myself. I'll be transparent, stay motivated for a long period of time. The other thing that people struggle with is just accountability, right? So they struggle with just being consistent over a long period of time. And that's why it's so powerful to have someone in your corner that can help you with that accountability, like just such as ourselves or friends, which is a free way to help with accountability. So those are the 2 things that I see: motivation dwindling, and then I struggle with accountability to just stay consistent for a long period of time.
Why do you think it's so hard to stay motivated?
Yeah, I love that question. And especially since we're entering March, when I think a lot of people, either they're coming down from their New Year's resolution that they're really motivated to do, or they haven't started yet, right? And that's pretty common. And some of the reasons why people struggle with staying motivated is that motivation isn't supposed to last forever, right? It's a temporary thing. And motivation is really great at getting you started to do something. But you have to rely on something else to keep you going. No one's motivated 24/7. At least I haven't seen it, and you probably agree with me, right? That person doesn't exist. You have to rely on something else, and it's really hard for people to rely on that other thing, which is discipline and consistency. A lot of people think, well, I'm not motivated to do this thing, I'm not going to do it. But it's just a natural part of any journey that you go on or any goal that you have, is that you're going to have those moments where you're not motivated, so you have to rely on something else. And I definitely want to talk about what you can do to kind of get over that hump of you're not motivated, because it's very common. Unfortunately, there are ways to get around that. I'm really passionate about this because, again, I see it all the time. Terry, best of all, free ways to help people out if they're feeling motivated. So these are things that anyone can do, implement in their life, that are free and easy. The first thing I already mentioned, right, is just the some help with accountability. And I find that friends are a great way to do this, coworkers, family members, join a group class. But when you have people around you or tribe to help you stay accountable, we can kind of bounce your motivation off each other. So, one person maybe be motivated for the group for that day, and then the next day someone else is motivated for the group, right? But you can kind of bounce things off each other and rely on each other to help stay accountable. And again, best of all, Terry, that's completely free, right? You don't have to hire an expensive coach. You can just utilize the network that you have around you. So the other thing that I wanted to mention is a quick 5-minute action. So the way to stay motivated is just to do a quick 5-minute action to get you on the track towards your goals. So, for example, something that I like to use with a lot of my clients is they're not motivated to go to the gym. Tell them just to put on your shoes and go outside. You don't have to go to the gym. Just break it down and make it very, very simple. Just put on your shoes and go outside. And that way they're actually doing some sort of really quick and easy action moving forward towards their goals. Now, maybe they don't actually make it to the gym that day, but at least they've done something, right? They did some sort of activity to help them move them towards their goals. And that way they're actually getting up, moving, doing some exercise. And they're not going to the gym, but at least they're doing something to get that motivation back rather than just going, I don't feel like it. So if you're waiting on motivation, what you should be relying on is actually action, because action will lead you towards motivation.
Walking. During the pandemic, when everything was shut down, that was 2020, I started walking. My gym upstairs was closed. There was nothing I could do. Every day I walked. I lived between Central Park and the East River. Every day I walked. There was no cars, no one around, and that's what I did. Things changed when things opened up. And when I could go to the gym, they let you in individually. I would go up to the gym. It's very easy to put it on the back burner, to say, I'm going to work late tonight, or I'm going to go out with friends. It's not like you can erase work, right? Or things you have to do. But it does seem that the whole nutrition exercise kind of gets, I did well on my diet, I'll do that. Or, I went up to the gym once, and we just see it all the time. So you said there were 3 steps. One was get motivated, take small steps.
Yep.
Was there a third one? I didn't want to interrupt.
Yes, there's the third one. You kind of touched on it just now, so I'm glad you asked that question. But the third thing is to find something that you enjoy. And so I think a lot of people have a goal, and that could be to run a marathon or run a 5K, or maybe they want to, lose 10 pounds for the wedding. And those are all fantastic goals. But I think what's also more important is to find something that you enjoy, because you're more likely to stick with something long term if you find something that you enjoy. I have clients that enjoy riding their bike, and they've been doing that for years because they truly enjoy it. And guess what? Riding their bike is actually something that really healthy for them. And so I think what people struggle with is they have a goal, but they should be more focusing on is find something that they can do that they enjoy, that they can do for a long period of time. Because we look at health, and if you want to improve your health, the lifelong journey, and you're not going to last very long if you do something that you're not going to enjoy. And so, again, the third thing is just to find something that you enjoy, and that could be riding your bike, going for a walk, going to the gym, doing a group aerobic class. But if you find something that you enjoy, you're more likely to stick with it for a long period of time. That also goes with nutrition as well. There's a lot of different types of diets out there that you can try. Bad diets, great diets, not so great diets. But if you want to find success with nutrition, then you have to find something that you can do a long period of time. Otherwise, you just will get burned out, or you just won't enjoy it and you'll quit. So again, for all listeners out there, make sure you find something that you enjoy, that you actually want to do a long period of time. So that's going to be the biggest predictor for success.
I agree. And there has to be a mindset of, like nutrition, it can't be I've got to lose 10 pounds, and that's the goal. It has to be built in to a lifestyle.
Exactly.
That it's about taking care of you.
Exactly.
And no matter what, that has to be the choice that one has to make. I created this series about how to be a better version of you in 2023. Mm-hmm. And we can fall off the wagon so easily.
Right.
And put us on the back burner. And staying motivated is difficult. We're pulled in so many directions that I'm wondering, what advice can you offer? Not a rah-rah speech, but on that thread for people to really look at it, not short term, but as part of a lifestyle.
You're right. A lot of people struggle with that. And so what I would tell people if they're struggling with making that lifestyle change is to start small. And I think a lot of times people get really caught up around making these really big wholesale lifestyle changes, right? They go to the Costco's and they get all the food to meal prep and they get all the Tupperware containers and they go all in on meal prepping and doing all these great things. And those are great things that a lot of people can benefit from. But I think a lot of people just need to take a step back and start where they can, right? So if you're a single mother out there or a single father out there with 2 kids and you got a full-time job, well, maybe you got to start somewhere else than where someone else can start with, right? Maybe you got to start with just going for a 30-minute walk or taking your kids out for a walk or just, eating more protein in your meal. But just start where you can and start small. And then once you get the momentum going, you can build on from there. Because again, I see it all the time with my clients. They want the meal plan, their exercise routines, and all at once. And I've had to learn over time as a trainer to kind of break things down for people, start where they can, and otherwise they'll just get burnt out and they'll fail. And so for all you listeners out there, just make sure that if you want to do something, especially a lifestyle change, you need to start where you can and not start where someone else is starting. Just start where you can and be realistic about what you can accomplish.
I totally get it and agree 100%. Start small. Don't sign up for a year at a gym, right?
Exactly.
Sign up if you're going to go to a gym for a month.
Right.
If you want to walk, start with a half a mile.
Yes, exactly.
Set up goals that are achievable, right? That you can feel good about, that you don't feel, because what happens is we set these goals and then we fail in our minds.
Exactly.
And who wants to fail so we don't go back to it?
Right. Exactly.
So small, achievable goals that one can do and build on that.
Exactly.
If you're taking a class, if you're doing whatever you're into, find something that you like going to where there are people. Don't try to do it alone, is I think some of the things you're saying. One of the quotes on your site, which I love, your mantra, discipline is king and consistency is queen. And without these two, you won't accomplish your fitness goals. Tell us a little bit about that, because that really, I loved it.
Yeah, I think that really kind of wraps up a lot of what we talked about here about how you might want to make a lifestyle change, right? So that's a very long, lengthy process, and that's going to require consistency over a long period of time, right? But consistency is also you also need discipline for that to stay disciplined towards your goals. And this applies to really any goal, and I'm sure you've experienced this as well. Like you need that discipline. And that consistency over time in order to accomplish your goals. But when it comes to fitness specifically, if you're not consistent, you won't get the results that you want, right? So you probably see this as well. And I've definitely seen this where And somebody gets really motivated. They start working out for a week and then they stop and they go back for a week and they stop and they kind of go back and forth for 3 or 4 months and they go, well, wait, I'm not seeing the results. And usually it's almost always because they're not consistent enough. And so you need that consistency in order to see results with whatever goal you have, right? Whether you want to lose weight, gain weight, get stronger, run a marathon, right? You need that consistency. But like I said in the beginning, you need something else other than motivation to get you there, right? And that's discipline. And that's why discipline is king and consistency is queen, because if you don't have those, then you won't see any sort of results. That's all what people want, is that they want results, but you have to be consistent and you have to be disciplined, I'll be fully transparent, Terry. Struggle with those sometimes as well. I am not perfect. Those get me too sometimes. What, you know, it really just comes down to those two things, discipline and consistency. Without those two, you won't see results.
And I think those are so important, yet people feel I work all day. I'm disciplined at work. I'm disciplined in what I need to do. How much more discipline do I have left? We have only a few minutes left, or we could go on. But what are some words of wisdom? You've already given us many, but what can you leave us with? A takeaway that can inspire. You've inspired us a lot, but what are one or two things, certainly around the discipline and the consistency?
What helps my clients, it helps people out, is you have a plan, right? So you need to have some sort of plan. So that way, when things come up or you're really busy throughout the day, you don't have to rely on discipline. You just rely on your plan, which you already have created, right? Or someone creates for you. And that takes out the guesswork. You can think about what you're going to eat or what you're going to do. You just follow that plan. All of my clients work in the office, they have very successful, right? And so if you have a plan, takes the discipline equation out, and all you have to do is follow that plan. So you can find a way to create a plan yourself or have someone create it for you. That's a fantastic way to help with that discipline, because again, I think this was a finite resource that you're going to run out of at some point. And so you want to take all the guesswork out that you can, and that's through having a plan.
So have a plan, have a friend, have a trainer, have something or someone to really help you, and be consistent.
Exactly. We all need help, Terry. We all need help.
Remember, discipline is king, consistency is queen. And without those, you are not going to reach the goals you want.
Exactly.
Paul, thank you so much for today. It has been very enlightening, and I really appreciate your being here.
Thank you for having me on the show. Appreciate it, Terry.
Thank you for joining the conversation. For related content on extraordinary work, visit my website, trycoaching.com. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another conversation. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and be sure to subscribe to future podcasts so you don't miss an episode. Always remember, when you work with passion and purpose, your work can become extraordinary. We all long for change in some areas of our lives, and one key element to making those changes is our relationship with change itself. My next guest, Rick Tamlin, best-selling author of Play Your Bigger Game, shares his insights and wisdom on how we can create that relationship with change.